This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Icon podcast. I am your host, Gianna. Today, we've got the opportunity of talking to John Gluch, obviously out of multiple markets. John, thanks for hanging out with me today.
Yeah, great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. So give me the spiel. Who are you? Where are you from? How did you find yourself a real estate agent?
Yeah, I'll give you the mercifully brief introduction here. I have been in real estate about 20 years and started doing investing and helping people flip homes, teaching courses on how to flip homes with a partner who actually knew how to do all that. Learned a few things, loved investing, and that went great till it didn't. That company failed in 2007, lost everything, bottom of the barrel, and at that point started selling homes to just regular friends, family, whatever, people who wanted to buy homes back when the Obama tax credit was a thing. And from there, just kind of did okay, sold 6 or 8 homes a year, and got a hold of Craig Proctor coaching in like 2011, 2012, and really dove in, loved his material. I had no idea you could make $1 million selling real estate. It was a totally new concept to me. And so I really went for it. I listened to every podcast, watched every video, went to every event and did all the stuff. And it really worked. Got up to a couple hundred home sales a year, created a team in Phoenix. This was all while I lived in Phoenix. And once the team got big enough to run without me, I could step out of production, not actually sell homes anymore. I moved to San Diego and ran the team remotely from San Diego for 3 years. During those 3 years, we actually kind of lost sales. I was up at 220 home sales a year and kind of got down to about 180 a year. And that's when I found EXP. So EXP was introduced to me by Jen Wayner and Dan Beer and Kyle Whistle. And I decided I wanted to be around those incredible human beings. And they were way outselling me, doing really incredible things. And they offered me this opportunity to partner with them, EXP. And I jumped in, and that was almost 2 years ago. And now this year we'll do like 600-700 home sales. So it went from falling down to a gigantic increase in sales. And I'm having more fun than I've ever had in real estate. So it's been a up and down journey, and it's been a lot of fun. And in that process, started my team in San Diego, started a team in Las Vegas, and so we're growing quickly. But that's the real quick version of how I got here.
Awesome. So, John, how were you introduced to EXP? What did that transition look like for you? What was your thought process?
For me, I had been invited to EXP by multiple people, but never really looked at it, honestly, which I think is kind of what most people's scenario is. They've sort of heard of it, but never really gave it a good look, which was my situation. And I couldn't overlook the fact that Jen was outselling me, Jen Wayner, who brought me to my very first EXP mastermind. Like when I was losing sales, she was gaining sales. And we had both been a part of the Proctor program and both were not anymore. And so we were kind of on the same path. And the fact that she kept growing while I was shrinking stuck out to me. I was like, man, she's got something going on I don't. And when she told me, hey, EXP has been a huge win for me, I didn't believe it. I'm like, who cares what brokerage you're at? That doesn't matter. But she was convincing and invited me to this great mastermind. And I went, and the people at this mastermind were just insane. I mean, every one of them was outselling me. I was coming from a brokerage where I was the #1 producer by like a mile. And to be in a room where I wasn't even in the middle, I think I was at the bottom, was very inspiring and encouraging. And so for me, that was the first look was, okay, if these people here who are clearly doing more than me and clearly smarter than me see something at EXP, it's worth a really good look. And that's when I started the exploration process of, hey, do I want to do this or not?
Awesome. Okay. And John, you mentioned how strong the community is here and the producers. And so with being over at EXP, there's also stock options, rev share, a lot of cool things. So what's your favorite part about EXP? What's something maybe that you didn't expect when you made the transition over here?
What's unique about EXP, like the most important thing is revenue share. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go recruit people for it to matter, right? Like, I think revenue share is the most important thing at EXP, even if you never recruit a single person, even if you never earn a dime of revenue share, because the incentive that revenue share creates is so powerful. So if you're sponsored by somebody who's a great producer, or you're sponsored by as part of a group of people who are great producers, now all those people who are selling lots of homes, who've had a lot of success, they now have an incentive to help you sell more homes. In fact, like 88% of the people at EXP never recruit anybody. That's like a fact. So most people are not coming to EXP to recruit anyone. They're coming to sell houses, which is what we do. We're a real estate brokerage. So most people, it's not going to move the needle. That's just not what they're going to focus on. But what will move the needle is the fact that now all these people, 7 people above them, have an incentive to create training and resources and events and opportunities and Zooms and masterminds and all kind of cool tools to help you succeed. So that's been my favorite part. I knew that's why I joined, was because I wanted to be around the top producers. I wanted to go to these events. I wanted to be a part of this, but it was a way bigger deal than I knew it was. Like, I didn't know the depth, the amount of connection, the amount of help, the amount of resources, the sheer volume of opportunities to grow has really blew me away. And it's by far my favorite part. It's what makes EXP EXP. It's what will make it so hard to copy, is the fact that you can copy the model. I mean, you could literally recreate the exact same model and it still wouldn't be the same, because of the people we have. They're not going anywhere, right? So right. The idea that you can get around this caliber of human being at scale is unique to us. I don't know that anybody is ever going to be able to recreate that. It's definitely my favorite part.
Absolutely. So, John, now that we've talked your experience with EXP, let's talk your work-life balance. Does that exist for you? How do you draw the line between work and play, and, just balance it all, being a top producer and friend, I'm sure?
Yeah, I think work-life balance is a bit of a myth. I don't think you're ever in balance. I look at work life as a pendulum that swings back and forth and is constantly out of balance, right? Even like when you're walking, you're always you're literally falling forward step after step, right? I think it's the same way in life, where you're always out of balance, and it's just a matter of determining where you need to counterbalance. So when I was new, and when we bring on newer agents, or agents who aren't super productive yet, and they got a family to feed and all that, like, they should be way counterbalanced on work. They should be working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I mean, full bore, hammer down, going for it. And that is absolutely the right solution for people who are in a situation where they just got bills to pay and they're behind, or they need to make some momentum. The goal, though, should always be to get to a place where now you can counterbalance back, and you get to choose intentionally where you're going to be out of balance. So like, this summer, I spent 3 weeks. I was in Hawaii for 2 of those weeks. I was in Pacific Beach for a week. Didn't answer a phone call, no emails, no text message. It was totally disconnected, right? And I worked for years to get to a place where I'm able to do that. And the clients were still being handled. We came back, homes had, 50 homes had been sold. Awesome. People had been hired. There were new systems that had been implemented. But it took years to get there. And I think the key is knowing where you need to, like for me, this summer, I needed to counterbalance hard toward my family. And I work a lot and spend a lot of time at work, and I wanted to be intentional and connected to them and very present. And so when my kids are out of school, that's when I typically lean pretty hard toward being present with them. And we've created a lot of resources and time to do that. So I don't really have work-life balance. I'm pretty constantly out of balance, but I try very hard to be thoughtful about it.
That's awesome. So, John, let's talk Icon Award. Let's talk production first. What does that average housing price look like for you? I guess in your areas, how many homes do you have to sell to be able to cap? Because one of the cool things about EXP is you only have one cap, no matter how many states you're in.
Yeah, that is unique, and most people don't know that. The fact that, I'll back up. Like, I ran my team in Arizona from San Diego for 3 years. had no intention of starting, like I had people asking me to start a team here and had no intention of doing it because I didn't want to go get a license. You know, California is a pain in the butt to get anything done. Like I just had no desire to go sell houses again. But when I joined EXP, they let me know, hey, you could start a team in California tomorrow. Like you don't need to go get a license. You have a license in Arizona. You're good to go, man. And so that's literally what we did. I started a team the day after I joined. In fact, I started it before I joined EXP. My first team member joined me before I even joined. And it was like a week or two before. So we had a team up and running the day I joined EXP, which that doesn't exist anywhere else. Mm-hmm. And what's incredible, as you mentioned, is we only have one cap. So I pay $16,000 a year to EXP for all of the stuff we do, which is so crazy. In fact, I get paid a lot to be here after you consider revenue share and all those things. But it is really a unique thing. In fact, we had a great opportunity with an institutional investor that we work with who buys lots of properties at scale. They said, hey, we'd love to go to Vegas. And we said, great. When do you want to go? And they're like, I don't know. How about 3 weeks? And we were up and running in Vegas in 2 weeks, had a team up going and closed like 30 deals our first month in Vegas. I mean, it's crazy. Like you can't do that at any other place. And
great production. Yeah, absolutely. And, spreading your brand and increasing your revenue, obviously, which is great. And John, let's talk the cultural commitment that comes with being an Icon agent, right? You've got production check. So cultural commitment. Are you a mentor, teacher? Where do you stand on that? And why do you choose that as your cultural commitment?
Yeah, EXP's Icon program will, if you sell enough homes, typically it's like 30-ish homes a year, depending on what part of the country you're in and what the purchase price is. Mm-hmm. That will allow you to be an Icon agent, which is cool. You got a trophy. I got mine back there, and that's awesome. But even better, as you just mentioned, we get stock, right? And an opportunity to have $16,000 worth of stock. And part of that stock is tied to you contributing to the community. And what I choose to do is we have masterminds. So basically people get on a Zoom. There's like 6 or 8 of us. And we go around and it's all recorded. And there's a series of topics. You can talk about anything you want, but there's also some topics you pick. And what I like about that particular opportunity is that I'm learning on every one of those calls. Like a lot of people will choose to present. So they get up and they share on a topic they're good at virtually on Zoom or in EXP World, which is cool. But for me, that's just me one way of communicating. And I do a lot of that already. So for me to be on a panel where we're just asking questions, like what lead source is working best for you right now is always my first question on those. And I pick up every single time great tips that I would not have gotten. So it's really cool that I'm getting paid like an insane amount per hour when you factor the hourly, and to sit on a Zoom with agents who are by definition successful because they're all Icon agents, and to hear what's working for them. That's a pretty neat opportunity. So that's the one I choose to use.
And openly sharing their secrets, which is really cool. And John, you talked some of the benefits of being an Icon agent, right? That big glass shiny trophy, opportunity to go to EXP Con and shareholders for stock awards, your cat back in stock, lots of cool things. So what's your favorite part about being an Icon agent? Why are you going to continue to strive for that status?
Being an Icon agent is really, I think, special and cool because it's achievable. 30 houses a year is not easy, but it's achievable. And so I love that EXP set the bar at a hard spot, but not impossible. So like any agent can get there. And in fact, anytime we're bringing on agents in our group, that's our goal. Like first we want to get them to cap, and then we want to get them to Icon, right? So I love that. And personally, I enjoy that I get to be a part of something that is really achievable for other people. But then the second thing is like the trophy's cool, right? But what's a lot cooler is the stock. And the fact that you get this, company stock for free is really, really unique and cool. And I actually like that you have to wait 3 years for some of it. All of it vests in different schedules, but some of it you have to wait 3 years, which I'm glad because I would sell it. And I just don't have the self-control not to. I'd sell it, and I don't know what I'd buy, a jet ski or something, right? But I can't, because now I know I'm very confident in the company, that I know the numbers. I see the quarterly reports. It's making a ton of money. It's growing great. Like I'm very confident that 3 years from now, that stock's gonna be worth a lot more. And I'm glad that I don't have to have the self-control to keep it because they force me.
Yep. I love that. That's awesome, John. I don't love that you don't have self-control, unless you love that. I don't care. But I do love the opportunities that you've been taking with it. So, John, if somebody were to come over to EXP, they've got their eyes set on iconing their first year. Is that possible for them? What are some major mistakes to avoid if they're going for that, or daily goals to set out?
Yeah. I think anytime you're setting goals, it's important to take them one step at a time. So it's great to look up the massive staircase at the Empire State Building and go, I'm going up there. Okay, great. Just don't do that every day, right? So if your goal, if you're at 0 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 home sales a year, don't set a goal to become an icon agent, sell 30 houses, and think about every day how far you have to get to 30. That's very frustrating and debilitating, right? So with any goal, I think absolutely, I know people for sure who started at 0 and gone to 30-ish deals their first year. That's very doable. It's not easy, and it requires a very strategic plan of like, okay, sit down with someone who's been there before, right? Who knows how to do this, and go, okay, I'm going from 0 to 30 and I'm going to make this happen. What are the steps required? What are the activities, the daily activities required to get there? And then every day, what you're looking up at is one step. Like, can I make it up that one step? And that one step's going to look like a certain amount of hours prospecting, a certain amount of hours building your database, the fundamentals, the blocking and tackling of real estate. Look at those every single day, achieve those. And for sure, I mean, there's no reason in the world you couldn't do it your first year. I like the stair step of capping first. If you're not capping yet, let's get you to where you're good, and that's typically, it's $80,000 in commissions. So depending on where you live, that's a real reachable metric. So let's start there and then go to Icon being the next target. But as long as you take a look at that one next step instead of the whole staircase, I think it's absolutely doable.
Absolutely. And John, were you ever skeptical of EXP when it was first introduced to you?
It took me a year to join EXP. And the reason is because I was convinced that I was going to be influenced to recruit because I knew the revenue share opportunity was real. And like I saw enough people making real money at it to know it would be seductive for me, that I would be like, man, that's interesting. And I would spend time on it, which is actually, that is what happened. And I was worried that would cost me home sales, that would mean I would sell less houses. And so that kept me out of the game for a year. I looked at it, went to an event in Las Vegas. It was spectacular, met incredible people, believed that this would help, talked to my team, brought a bunch of them there. They were sold, and we waited because I was looking at my declining sales year over year. And I was like, man, I cannot take any attention away from this most important metric, which is selling homes. So it kept me out of it for a year. And I eventually switched and got over it. Basically, just like during COVID, it was an easier time to make changes because so much was happening. And I just made the switch. I went to like another mastermind where I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Why am I not here? Like, these people are clearly crushing it. And sometimes you're faced with evidence that contradicts what you believe to be true, right? So I was looking at all these people who were spending time and energy recruiting because it was making them money, who were also selling way more houses than me. And so it was clearly possible to do that. I just had a limiting belief that it wasn't possible for me. And once I realized that and got over it, I joined. And then, of course, I joined the ranks of all those people now selling 3 times as many homes and recruited. Now my group has 150 people in it in a year and a half. So it's really crazy how that's worked out. And it cost me a year, unfortunately, that limiting belief. But I'm glad I eventually made it over.
Absolutely. That's awesome, John. So, for people that they're prospecting, moving over to EXP, but they hear things like it's a pyramid scheme, it's a cult, all these things, what words would you have to say to them to kind of reassure them, like, making the move to EXP is worth it. It's going to be worth your time. Make that leap.
I think anytime in life you label something or label somebody, you've stopped learning. Like, you've stopped growing at that point. Like, that person's a whatever. Even like Republican, Democrat, the minute you slap these labels on people or things, EXP is a pyramid scheme, whatever, you're done. I mean, your mind at that point is closed, and the most expensive thing in the world is a closed mind. Like, you will lose out on more opportunities to grow as a human being, to capitalize on great opportunities, to meet wonderful people from closing your mind than any other thing. And so I have tried very hard to open my mind to all kinds of possibilities. In fact, my favorite story for that is we had a marketing person call me, and I get these calls all the time. Hey, do you want to participate in our program? Do this lead source, sign up for this, whatever, right? Like, I don't know, 10 a week. So we have a whole system for that. And mostly I ignore them. And one came in and this person was like, hey, we want to buy, 20 or 30 houses a month in Phoenix. And I'm like, okay, whatever, right? That's just nonsense, right? And I was going to Hawaii and I said, you know what? Let's not even I'll call back if when I get back from Hawaii. So it's like gone for like 10 days. And I finally get back and my assistant reminds me like, hey, you probably ought to call that person back. And I'm like, this is worth a call. And I call and I'm like on a drive, like not really paying attention. Right. And turns out this ends up being the biggest connection I have ever made in real estate, responsible for hundreds and hundreds of home purchases. The most important phone call I've ever had in real estate was that one. And I almost never called them back. And I'm just amazed they waited for me for 2 weeks, right?
Right.
And ever since then, when marketers call, we have a whole new system that's much more open-minded to investigate and look at every single opportunity give everything a real shake, because I don't want to miss out on that next phone call, that next opportunity. And so my encouragement to people who are labeling EXP as a pyramid scheme would say, my encouragement would be like, open up your mind. Like maybe, what if you're not right? What if all these smart people who are selling tons and tons of homes aren't pulling some kind of scam, right? What if it really is what they say it is? You might be missing out on an opportunity that would radically change your life. And learn from my mistakes. Don't be closed-minded like me. Open up your mind and see what else is out there. And you might be surprised at how much your life can change.
Absolutely. John, that's awesome. Are you going to be at EXP Con in October?
Yeah, I try very, very hard to make it to at least 2, preferably 3 or 4 events a year that EXP puts on. 1, because they're fantastic. And 2, because the opportunity to bring other people is spectacular, right? Like the events are so good. Why not bring some friends with me who haven't seen EXP? They don't know what it's like. That's what happened to me, right? I went to an event, end up at the bar talking to Jay Kinder and Mike Reese and these people who are like legends in real estate, who are just like normal, friendly people giving me great advice. Like, who wouldn't want that opportunity? And I think I owe it to the people in my group and then the people who I'm friends with to at least offer them a chance to come join us at one of these spectacular events. So yes, absolutely. I'll be at EXP Con. Really looking forward to it. And we'll be there with probably 50 plus people. It'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to seeing you there, John. I will be hunting you down. And so be expecting to hear from me.
Yeah.
And other than that, thank you so much for sharing your story today on the Icon podcast. And I look forward to catching up real soon.
Yeah. Great to see you. Thanks so much.
Of course.
This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.